We return to the Beltane Grove once again to say the chant for the cross quarter of 2024. Which is Saturday, May 4th at 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, are the closest sunset to that. Vug, zum, zum, muz, nuz, muz, eve, marks, silv, hugs, guff, mulks, gahan. The sixth word, iv, merks, is Mercury, as in with a capital M. The third word, mz, is to give or to take. The fourth word, nvmz, is a title, a dignity, an honor. Zumzub is to provoke. It's a portion of the heavens, kind of like those zodiacal houses and stuff like that. The sixth word, sulv, hugs, is devastatingly honest. Vug is union, or the adding together. The chant will be said over the objects and the candles, which will include yellow. And the general poem that has been composed here, we crystallize the coming galactic age. The cosmic energy is operated by the sage. Their stay is where they are told not to, under any pretext. The requiem of future memory has dried the blood of what was sent. Our passion play has displayed how each of us manifests divinity. The acausal dialectics are not for the ignoring of it by you or me. It is concealed for us to reveal what is implied, are inherent. We have ciphered the celestial sphere by 9. Through each state and station, we become sublime. For fire, and at this point, I may say something else. For water, I may say something else. For earth, I may say something else. For air, I may say something else. Beyond ritual and the scriptural, we contemplate. Spirit, without being stuck in the abstract. Let us distinguish between the representative and real, revelation and inspiration. This is deeper than any human relationship. Sound and light open the revolution to break the resistance to the ionic civilization. Beyond and among the ways of ages are our initiations. vehicles of the fluid, hermetic alchemy of evolution. We have used the internal for transportation. As more than symbolic, it becomes real. We have obtained from their traditions to give that under control. The heavens have shown the time of destiny and its direction of infernality. Learn from the experience of numinosity as an individual beyond mediocrity in the lifestyle of disruption. Now, you can see that I am imploring more than the 21 sigils. And like with the statue, it previously had all this painted on it. This year, I'm just rendering things yellow. And let me see. I think that's all the graphics with that. But to go over the paths that we are looking at, and as you've seen in the button, we have Noctulius as moon to Mercury. Moon to Venus is Nithra. Moon to Mars is Shugara. Moon to Sun is Sha'atan or Satanus. Moon to Jupiter is Asa. Moon to Saturn is Azanagan. Mercury to Venus is Nakala. Mercury to Sun is Gawath Am. Mercury to Mars is Banan Ath. Mercury to Jupiter is Litigan. Mercury to Saturn is Abatu. Venus to Sun is Karu Samsu. Mercury, Venus to Mars is Nemaku. Venus to Jupiter is Maktoron. Venus to Saturn is Belpecula. Sun to Mars is Athena. Sun to Jupiter is Atazoth. Sun to Saturn is Vindex. Mars to Jupiter is Devchina or Davkina. How are you supposed to properly pronounce that? Mars to Saturn is Saractanus. Mars to Jupiter is Devchina. And Jupiter to Saturn is Naas. Mars, not Mars, sorry about that. We have Jupiter to Saturn is Naas. Moon to Earth is Alastaros. And Saturn to the stars is that Wrigley symbol. Wiggly sort of symbol that I have typically shown. And scroll down here a bit here, and you see that alpha omega looking thing is that symbol. And so for descent, we have that symbol in red, and the similar symbol I mean, for ascent, you got the symbol in red, and the descent are going outwards and going inwards. So the descent has the moon, the water, the downward pointing triangle, and then you have the general just in and out. So I guess up, down, and in out here. And so we have some verses that relate to what we're going over here. But before that, let me get into the symbols. So we have the Kili Enochian ring. I made 2 versions of it, and I gave someone one of the rings. And I had material for 2, and then I kept them for years, and so that's one version of that. So we're definitely referring to wonders of a causal sort of nature. And we have the triangle, representing, over the hell and in the hell. So, the gateway into the realms of such beings. And we have formulas that go beyond their Latin form at the very least, if not from, the other sectarian forms. We have a button with those symbols we saw before, one of those pins, those sort of buttons. We have the 2 approximately 4-pointed stones, and the quartz and citrine, I think it's called, that represents the seasonals. The agate bloodstone, I don't know if you see the little spot in it, but it's definitely a bloodstone. The agate bloodstone, usually people mean jasper when they say bloodstone, but you can have them with other types of stone too. I use that in my Order of 9 Angles related rituals. I have the Cornelian point, which reminds me of that aspect of the ancient Egyptian mythology associated. And the April-May moon is particularly good, not only in references, it's the best time of the year to get married, as far as that's concerned, the 10th month of the sacred calendar, you could call it. But with the April-May moon in particular, which may or may not be that depending on the year, it's very important in Buddhism. So my Lotus Sutra ring, I mean, it's not the whole Lotus Sutra, but it's some stuff from it. I'm not sure exactly what, if anybody could tell me. And then it's almost like the alien nature, like the ship, like a Jetson sort of thing. That's what the container for that reminds me of, and the little bag that the Order of 9 Angles symbol refers you to. But the Order of 9 Angles symbol, there's the particular to my practice that we have with that. So there's that. I may get that made into patches at some point. And so that's the main points we look into here. And so from the Quran, I chose Surah 6, Ayat 76. And of course, in the ritual itself, I use the Arabic, I use the Aramea. People say Biblical Hebrew, but it's really pronounced Aramea. And I use the Greek. So there's that. And okay, 676. When the night came with her covering of darkness, he saw a star and said, "This is my Lord." But when it set, said, "I love not those that wane." Now, some people will say that this is all one individual saying this, some as a lesson, like throwing out the question. And some people will say, well, the person who he was teaching said this. And then the teacher said the response. you know, because these causal abstractions and stuff, they're just you know, they're means for lessons and other such things. 2435. The acausal is the light of the heavens and the earth. The semblance of his light is that of a niche in which there is a lamp, a flame within a glass, the glass a glittering star, as it were, lit with oil of a blessed tree, the olive neither the east nor the west, whose oil appears to light up, even though fire touches it not, light upon light. The astonishing, singular and definitive, guides to his light whom he wills. So does the acausal advance precepts of wisdom for people. The acausal has knowledge of every causal thing. And I translated that way for a lesson. At 53.1. I guess there's more that we could use verse-wise, but I thought this would be very appropriate towards all that. I call to witness the star of the Pleiades when it's dipped. Or I call to witness the star when it is dipped. Most people wouldn't specify with the Pleiades because the term is just, you know, any star that dips, you can thus take a lesson. And the book of Revelations, whether you believe in the Christian context or not, it's a very powerful thing to reference with ritual. At the very least, using these sources, we can say that, you know, individuals have, you know, there's a lot of energy in history with these verses. I, Jesus, sent mine angel to testify unto you those things in the assemblies, that I am the root and offspring of David, the star, the bright and morning. So basically, he's saying he's Lucifer, but it's, again, we're referring ourselves to the star principles here. Chapter 12, verse 1 and, well, verse 4. And his tail drags the third of the stars of the heavens, and he casts them to the earth. And the dragon, you know, Draco is, you know, if you look at its direction, those 72 stars refers, you know, like to about a third of the sky. He stands before the woman who is about to bring forth, when she should bring forth her child, that he might devour. I've heard it referred to as the Goetia. I'll point out VK Jehanum had said that one. Not quite the Goetia is how you say it, but you know, that concept of the 72 approaching to absorb into that myth, right? And 12:1, and a sign great was seen in the heavens, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of stars. 12. And we can refer to certain astrological examples of this and some other things that we've mentioned, but, you know, we don't have to narrow it down to that. Revelation 9:1. And the fifth angel sounded his trumpet, and I saw a star out of the heaven fall into the earth, and there was given to it the key of the pit of the abyss. And, you know, there could at some point be a star that hits the earth with such force that it's like, you know, that we see lava. Well, I mean, you know, some celestial body, maybe a comet, you know. Or perhaps it just sends people to the afterlife. There's as an extinction level event. 8:10 through 12. And the third angel sounded his trumpet, and fell out of the heavens a star, great and burning as a lamp, and it fell upon the third of the rivers, and upon the fountains of the waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood, and it becomes the third into wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. I'm not sure how that would work, but and the fourth angel sounded his trumpet. It was smitten, the third of the sun, and the third of the moon, and the third of the stars should be darkened, a third of them, and the day should not appear, the third of it, and the night likewise. And well, the bitter waters, that could be cobalt bombs and all that sort of stuff. So it could be nuclear war. And the sun, the moon, and the stars is a reference to the typical way of things. Of course, some of the stars are much, much bigger than the sun and all that combined, but Revelation 6:13. And the stars of the heaven fell into the earth as a fig tree cast off its untimely figs by a great wind being shaken. And we can think of some of that also. Of the fallen entities and the fruits of the works being, scattered. Revelation 3:1. And the angel's rather ambiguous of a term, right? And in Sardis, the assembly write these things. He who has the spirits of God and the 7 stars, I know thy works, that the name that thou hast, thou livest, and dead are. So you have a dead name. That's an interesting thing right there, right? And 2:28, and I will give him the star of the morning. So the Venus principle. So again, you become a Lucifer. And 2:1, the angel of the Ephesian Hus assembly. Assembly as in more than just your family. And by family, I mean like those, either your spouse and the family that you can never marry under any circumstances. So the word church it's broader than church because it's not really church. Church is something else. Write these things, says he who holds the 7 stars in his right hand and who walks in the midst of the 7 lampstands that are golden. And remember that heptarchy stuff, both in Zoroastrianism and in ancient Satanism. And Revelation 1:20. Okay, where's verse 20? The mystery of the 7 stars which you saw on your right hand, mine and the 7 lampstands that are golden. The 7 stars, the angels of the 7 assemblies are, and 7 lampstands which thou sawest, the 7 assemblies are. And 16, and having in his right hand stars 7, and out of his mouth a sword, 2-edged sharp, going forth in his countenance as the sun shines in its power. So you got to cut through and go through the gateways, and that's what's represented here by those names. We have Jude 1:13. Waves of the wild sea foaming out of their own shames the stars that wander, to whom the gloom of darkness forever has been kept. And so the darkness can be withheld. I mean, sometimes you need to figure out what the darkness is, though. So, the pathways of the dark gods, they're called here. Hebrews 11:12. And respond to these things how you wish. Wherefore also from one were born, and that too of one having become dead, even as the stars of the heavens in multitude, as sand is by the shore of the sea, is countless. So even though they could see 26,000 stars, I forget the number that you could actually see at one point with the naked eye, if there wasn't all the light pollution. And we have 1 Corinthians 15:41. And remember, the stars have symbolic and developmental sort of importance. Okay, Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 15:41. One glory the sun, another glory the moon, another glory the stars. Stars differ from star to star, differs in glory. And the cosmology is sort of off by that. But then again, we saw this sunlight, moonlight, and starlight as sort of the vestments. And we in the church I was raised in, they had the celestial kingdom and the celestial kingdom and the terrestrial kingdom. And I had my dream that gave more detail than that, kind of broke it down a bit. But Acts 27, verse 20. And neither the sun nor the stars appearing for many days, and tempests no small lying on, henceforth was taken away, all hope of being saved. Well, sometimes you need to give up, right? But sometimes there's a point beyond the point of no return. And Acts 7:43. And I apologize, earlier I couldn't find the reference to all the words to translate the chant of the season. The vug, zimzib, mz, nvmz, is mux, silvagus, guth, mulks, gahan. Okay. Oh, we were going to 7:43 of Acts, right? And and ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch and the star of your god Remphan, and the models which you made to worship them, and I'll remove you beyond Babylon. Something's about to happen with the Persians. And there's also something supposed that seems like it's going to happen in regard to that feminine thing, the Papalon, in the Thelemic thing, we have Babylon and chaos and all that sort of stuff. And, so the total submissive quality and all that is, I guess, what is in Thelema. Not that in the Order of Nine Angles or any other such thing that Crowley is considered as a definitive prophet, but he certainly paved the way for some things to have their way into mythology. Now, Luke 21:25. And he said to them, render therefore the things to Kai Saros, to Kai Sari, and the things of God to God. Now, the word for God is the seer beyond, using the eyes. So the seer, the seers, right? But then again, the language was very much used by the polytheistic culture, and that's part of the reason why we have the Bible the way it is. And we have Mark 13:25. It's important to consider the Greek philosophy and stuff that went in to Christianity appearing in its so-called official form. And the stars of the heaven shall be falling out, and the powers which are in the heavens shall be shaken. Some natural laws may change to the very point where where the laws of the universe in general might be changed, but certainly from our perspective from Earth, supernovas and a bunch of things could happen. And Matthew 24:29. Immediately, but after the tribulation of those days, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall down from the heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And nuclear war seems like the only way that this would happen, except maybe some sort of gamma ray burst from some other place, right? But humans have worked very hard to be able to destroy themselves, you know? And certain beings are going to come take part in it. And it's better to be knowing when you're, aware and there's a choice than to have it forced upon you, right? 2:10, and having seen the star, they rejoice with joy, great exceedingly. And some people, their use of the signs are, what's going to be best for them. Sometimes they're just being fooled. So don't get too caught up in the sparkle of the outer. Verse 9, and having heard the king went away, and behold, the star which they saw in the east went before them, until having come, it stood over where there was the little child. Verse 7, then Herod, secretly having called the Magi, inquired of them the time for the appearing star. And let's not confuse the Magian. There are some issues with the Magian what's the word? I think restoration. Some word that the Christians use, anyways. Well, my point is the Magian, the Achaemenid, the Parthian, the Parsi, and lesser revitalizations of that tradition aren't exactly the same thing as Zoroaster, right? And verse 2, saying, where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star in the east and are come to do homage to him. And yeah, I think some things are about to happen, hardcore, like with, and I think either the person's been born or somebody leading the way to the Antichrist that is necessary for that process has already been born and probably put on the scene. And we'll find out at least one of those names very soon. Job 25, verse 5. Even the moon is not bright, and the stars are not pure in his sight. So the material world for itself is not, it's not the thing. Psalm 136, verse 9. The moon and the stars to dominate the light. His steadfast love is eternal. One of the things that we fail to notice is the message of love in what's called the Bible is almost entirely a so-called Old Testament thing. They projected this thing, oh, it's it's more real. So there's more than that. And it's not, God so loved the world that he, that it's like, really, it couldn't love us enough to give us a chance to forgive us, but had to kill his own son. That's kind of, something else, right? Psalm 8:3. Again, you can tell I don't agree with the Christian thing, but and I don't agree with the Jewish authority thing, and I don't agree with any of the conservative or liberal forms really. There's aspects of them that you can use, and hence I said in the poem, 8:3, from the mouths of infants and sucklings you have founded strength on account of your foes, to put an end to the enemy and avenger. Don't you love just how these things have all sorts of curses all over the place? And so we have Amos. I'm not sure where in the sequence we're going to find Amos. Because remember they have a different sequence for the books. of Tanakh and the books of what they call the Old Testament. And the Old Testament has all sorts of misleading translations here. And you shall carry off your king, Sakut, and Kiyun, the images you've made for yourself, and of your astral deity. Relate that to the book, the Acts 7:43 thing. Oh, I didn't even plan to make this connection. There was a book that I was supposed to read, and I read it, and in my commentary I put these things together. So yeah, some things came through in my seasonal that I did not expect to come through, but here they are. And Joel 2:10 and 3:15. Okay, so 2:10. Before them, the earth trembles, the heaven shakes, the sun and the moon are darkened, and the stars withdraw their brightness. And yeah, some things are not eternal here. And 5 is to everyone who invokes the name of God as a verb and noun shall escape, and there shall be a remnant on the mountain of Zion and in Jerusalem, as God as a verb and noun has promised, and even who invokes will be among the survivors. So the secular power is going to be overturned. And okay, there's not a 3:15 here. But 2:15, what was 2:15? Blow a horn, solemnize a feast, proclaim an assembly. Jeremiah 31:35. Oh, the November, the month that we mentioned. Oh, maybe we didn't mention it here. In the program that I was recording earlier, the November-December month, Jeremiah talks about the fast of that month, right? Isn't that somewhere in Jeremiah? But 31:35. And so I'm working in a lot of different myths here. I wish I'm not. I'm recording this. It's not the best day for me to do it. I don't know if anybody would have been able to join me in this discussion, but I want to make sure this was done. Thus says God as a verb and noun, who established the sun for a light by day, the laws of the moon and stars for a light by night, who stirs up the sea into roaring waves, whose name is God as a verb and noun of hosts. Oh, the name that joins to it is that. Okay, that's a little bit different. And I'm not in this program adjusting all the language thereof, but we have Numbers 24:17. What I see for them is not yet. What I behold will not be soon. A star rises from Jacob, a scepter comes forth from Israel. It smashes the brow of Moab, the foundation of all the children of Seth. Well, so basically of the devil. So plush tun would be the term, because tun is the female version of the devil. It comes from the ancient Egyptian la'a sut, but yeah, it's a lot of destruction as they're trying to work. But the brow, right? So see, I felt like I should include more of my end times theme going on here. And vung zum zum. Sorry about that. Hold on. Let me. Vung zum zum. Muz muz e mixes silvahagas guff milks gahan. We crystallize the coming galactic age. The cosmic energy is operated by the sage. Their stay is where they are told not to, under any pretext. The requiem of future memory has dried the blood of what was sent. Our passion play has displayed how each of us manifests divinity. The causal dialectics are not for the ignoring of it by you or me. It is concealed for us to reveal what is implied, our inherent. We have ciphered the celestial sphere by 9. Through each state and station, we become sublime. For fire, for water, for earth, for air. Beyond ritual and scriptural, we contemplate spirit without being stuck in the abstract. Let us distinguish between the representative and real revelation and inspiration. This is deeper than any human relationship. Sound and light open the revolution to break the resistance to the ionic civilization. Beyond and among the ways of ages are our initiations, vehicles of the fluid, hermetic alchemy of evolution. We have used the internal for a sort of transportation. As more than symbolic, it becomes real. We have obtained from their traditions to give that under control. The heavens have shown the time of destiny and its direction of infernality. Learn from the experience of numinosity as an individual beyond mediocrity in the lifestyle of disruption. Vung, zum, zum, muz, navmuz, mixes, silvagus, guff, mulks, gahan.